Okay, what are some other things that we're heading into for next year? Some interesting things. One is that we're quite actively pursuing now. The government had indicated that they've completed what they called their Reaching Higher plan, which was a multi-year funding plan for post-secondary education, and that finished a year ago. So we thought in this budget they would, and they were talking about it, that they would introduce, we were calling it Reaching Higher 2, they didn't like that. I think they want a flashier name than that. But anyway, another version of what they wanted to do in post-secondary education. We didn't get that. We got a one-year budget with no real statement about what would they do with post-secondary education in the province of Ontario. But some really positive signals that they want to increase the number of Ontarians that go to post-secondary education to 70% of all Ontarians. And already Ontario has a very high proportion of our population that go to post-secondary education. And that's post-secondary education in its broadest terms. Includes apprenticeship, any kind of education beyond secondary school. So to take something that's already high and go even higher, which by the way I think is incredibly smart. That's exactly, I mean, the catchphrases about a knowledge economy, that's all real. I mean, just look at what has happened in manufacturing in this recession. It was a restructuring that's going to stay restructured. High-paying, low-skilled jobs are not going to be done in Ontario or Canada or in the West, where people want to be paid $20 or $30 an hour to do them. It's not going to happen. It's going to be done in India, China, and elsewhere. So that's a restructuring, and where are we going to make our living? It's in more highly skilled jobs. And that's what they refer to when they say knowledge economy. So increasing the proportion of our population that have post-secondary education is a very good thing to strive to do. So how are they going to do that? And one of the pitches that the college system has been making is that colleges should be given more flexibility in the kind of certification we can give. In particular, degree granting capability. Now we have degree granting capability, and you may know that we have a couple of applied degrees. But the rules we're operating under right now are hugely restrictive. We can only offer very complex degrees that no other university on the planet, that's an exaggeration, is offering or thinking of offering. And so we have those, but there is going to be a demand, and a continuing demand, for degree education. And colleges in all other provinces are doing it, or at least a portion of it, a couple of years, except Ontario. And it's cheaper for the student and the taxpayer to do that kind of education in a college as opposed to a full research university. And government is looking at that right now. We call it a differentiated mission. We want to change Fanshawe's mission, to be able to do more of that. I use the example, I think this is almost true, the people here from the Lawrence School of Business, I'm sure will contradict me if it's not true, but I tell this story out to make political gain, that Lawrence School of Business launched an opportunity for our graduates that an Ontario university, I think is it Nipissing? That we now have an agreement with them that our graduates from our business program can enroll in online degree completion courses that they can start in the summertime right after they finish at Fanshawe. And they're enrolling at the University of Nipissing to complete a degree. And so how does the university do that? As with most online education we've learned, you don't just do it online. That's not as effective. You need people, like teachers involved. So they hire Fanshawe College teachers to deliver it. So terrific. What's really going on? Our teachers, perfectly capable of delivering that same education, are in fact delivering it. And we're shipping the student money to the University of Nipissing, and we take a little cut out of it ourselves. We could be doing that. We could be offering those same degree programs with our own faculty. So anyway, and we could be doing it right while they're here. So that's what we mean by differentiated admission. The government has said, it wasn't in the budget, but over the course of the year, they are going to develop and consider post-secondary education in Ontario and how should it change and should it change. And so that's what we're advocating for. All of that, of course, is really important for our economy. And the prime mission of Fanshawe College is to serve the economic needs for skilled labor in our community. Now, of course, we define the community as being first and foremost our immediate community, but we in fact extend it to the whole world. But our main goal is that our immediate communities have the skilled labor they need. Well, of course, the looming challenge, just a few years off, it starts in about 4 years, is the leading edge of the retirement of the baby boomers. It might be the odd one or two in this room. You know who you are. But it starts small in 4 years, but over the next 5 years, it's like a tsunami. And a great womb of skilled people leave the labor force. What that means, then, is that if 86.5% or 90% of Fanshawe graduates are being employed right now, and mostly, by the way, in southwestern Ontario, over 80% get employed in our immediate community. If that's the case, then in 5 to 10 years' time, they're going to need a whole lot more. So where are we going to get them? So that's why we have another one of our strategies is a growth strategy. Not going to be so simple though, because the other shoe of that demographic is the kids of the baby boomers. And where that peak is right now, they're in secondary school. And that's fine, so the grade 12 enrollments are growing. But in 4 years' time, they stop growing. And then they start going down. And down like 15 to 20% decline in grade 12 enrollments. Now, if I were in an institution where 90% of all my students came from grade 12, I'd be really nervous about that, but we're not. About 50%, or even less, fewer than 50%, less than 50%, actually come directly from grade 12. But what it means is we're going to have to concentrate on those who don't come directly from grade 12. We have lots of them now, and there are all different kinds of categories of students. Everywhere from university graduates to people who go to university and don't graduate, to people who don't go anywhere after high school, either college or university, to people who don't traditionally go to post-secondary education, like people with disabilities, Aboriginal people, and you can look at all these different groups that are underrepresented in post-secondary education, and that's where this growth is going to have to come from. Interestingly, I saw a chart just the other day analyzing the growth that has occurred in universities over the last 5 or 6 years, and there's been significant growth. And you know what the demographic of the highest growth group is in universities? What demographic would you look at to see where the highest growth, by far, of any other group, divide them up however way you want, what's the group that has grown the largest in universities? Not so in colleges, but in universities. What's the demographic, or not demographic, what's the factor that would predict that? Family income. The higher the family income, that's the group. It's those families that have lots of money that have gone to university or achieved post-secondary education. That means, okay, good. There's nothing wrong with that, but that means that's not the group where further growth is going to come from. The children of well-to-do people are all going to post-secondary education anyway. So it has to be from elsewhere.